Good afternoon. Welcome to the fifth webinar today of Stiyka Ukraina. We, as Stiyka Ukraina, 14 Dutch companies, that will say 13 Dutch companies and 1 Belgian companies, are supporting the Ukrainian horticulture. We give trainings on the field, we had a conference, and we organized the webinars. And today is the 5th webinar. Before we had webinars about the soil, about regenerative horticulture, about carbon credits, but also about credits for the horticulture, and also about the present situation we're following through Stiyka Ukraina. And today we're really going into the topic of raspberries and blueberries. The second speaker is I think his father was one of the first blueberry growers in the Netherlands. And nowadays, Leon Schrijnwerkers has a plantation, a nursery, and also a packing station. But first, we start with Nico de Groot. For many people in the horticulture and in the berry production, a famous hat. And he is working and running around in Ukraine already for a long time. So Nico, welcome to the webinar, and I give you the floor for raspberries this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frederik, for the introduction. Welcome everybody to my presentation about raspberries. I'd like to introduce to you the raspberries of advanced berry breeding, and show to you what they can bring to Ukraine. As Frederik already told you, I'm already working in Ukraine for almost 25 years. Started up a project in apple growing in 1999. Currently, I am working for the raspberry company Advanced Berry Breeding. I'm responsible for the sales of our raspberry varieties in Europe. Advanced Berry Breeding is based in the Netherlands. We focus on the development of primocane raspberry varieties. Our varieties are available in many countries in the world. We export them worldwide, and they are suited for many different climate zones all around the world. Our varieties are particularly resilient to all these different climate conditions, and they are also growing while using not many pesticides. They are quite resilient against diseases. A little bit about the history of the company. The company has been established by the Dutch fruit grower and nurseryman Mr. Geert de Weert just over 20 years ago. Mr. Geert de Weert was looking for raspberry varieties which could be grown under low light conditions in tropical environment, especially in Tanzania, where he had a farm at that moment. Those varieties were not available. That's why he started up his own breeding program. And the first varieties from this breeding program came available around 2010. This first range of selections were the Kwanzaa, Kweli, Imara, and Mapema. As you might see, the names are all from the Swahili language, which links to the activities of Geert in Tanzania. We continued the breeding program, and in 2018 the second generation was released, containing the varieties Shani, Wengi and Sarafina. At this moment we are developing the third generation of ABB raspberry varieties. This third generation will be released in 2025. Currently we are testing these varieties in different farms all over Europe, Morocco, and also in Mexico and United States. The main aim of advanced berry breeding is to provide or to develop raspberry varieties that have added value for growers, so that they can meet the challenges they face when growing their fruits. So it's not only about the taste or attractiveness or the color of the raspberries, but also about productivity, as the variety should bring a profit to the grower and also should meet the sustainability standards nowadays. So what do we do at advanced berry breeding? Our core business is the selection of new varieties. So we make crossings between mother and father lines, select the right varieties based on our criteria. We do register these varieties worldwide. We give the licenses to both nurseries and growers to produce the plants and to allow them to grow the fruits. And to both growers and nursery, we provide technical support to improve the production. I'd like to give you some insight in this breeding process. Every year we make some 6,000 to 7,000 different crossings. So we have seeds of 6,000 to 7,000 completely new varieties of raspberries. In the next 2 to 5 years to come, we do a very strict selection process in which we throw out most of these new varieties. At the end, after this 5-year period, we hope to have some 1, 2, maybe 3 very high potential varieties left over. Then in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we do testing of these varieties in different locations in Europe, on companies who are interested in the varieties. And then in around 10 years, we will come to the commercial release of those varieties that show the most potential for the growers. So all in all, it takes 10 years to when you start making the crossing before you have a variety ready for the market. I like to show you this picture to show the differences between different types of raspberries. We have the floricane varieties. That are the varieties that give the fruits on the second year canes. Next to the floricane, we have primocane varieties on which ABB is focusing. The traditional primocane varieties show tip flowering. That means they give the fruits only on the top of the cane. And because it's only on the top of the cane, that's also limit their production capacity. Sorry, it's going too fast. Advanced berry breeding is focusing on newer types of primocane raspberries, double croppers, meaning that these are raspberry varieties that give fruits both in autumn and next year in late spring or early summer. The varieties like Kwanzaa and Kweli from our first generation are typically double crop primocane raspberries. The last type of raspberries we call the true primocane. These are primocane varieties that give fruits all along the cane. Productive varieties, but they only give the fruits on the first year cane. So if you want to have a new production, you have to remove the cane and then it will start giving the new canes on which a new crop will come. So on the double crop type primocane raspberries and the true primocane raspberries is the focus of the ABB breeding program. I like to draw the attention to several aspects of the plants growing. First of all, plant quality, which is a crucial part if you want
Please,
to...
a little bit slower because it's hard to catch up. Please continue.
So I like to draw the attention to the plant quality. The health of your plant material is essential to have a successful crop and a good yield. Therefore, always regularly refresh your plants, your plantations, to keep a productive plantation. If you keep it too long, the fruit size will decline, and also you'll run risk for catching diseases, especially virus diseases. Always buy plants from a reputable, a well-known nursery who has a license of the owner of the variety. This is the only way to guarantee the origin and the truthness of the variety. And if possible, buy plants which have a health certificate, a quality certificate that guarantee that the plants are growing in a healthy, controlled way, like from NAC Tuinbouw in the Netherlands. The other point of attention is royalty. Royalty is the compensation or the payment which the owner of the variety will get from the fruit growers as a compensation for the investments and the owner of the variety has done to breed the variety and to create these new selections. As I told you, it's a long-term investment. It takes 10 years. And this time and money invested needs to be recovered. So it's in the interest of you as a grower to have new, more productive varieties, resistant varieties, varieties which are easy to pick, easy to grow. And therefore, the royalty needs to be paid. If no royalty is paid, the breeding process will stop and there will be no new varieties in the future. I'd like to show you some pictures of different production systems in growing raspberries. The basic is growing raspberries outdoor in the open field. I show you a picture of the Mapema field planted earlier this year in Bulgaria. Quite wide distance. Of course, open field means no protection against the weather situation. If you like to produce more intensive and higher quality fruits, you need to invest in covering of the production. So here you see a few pictures of the rain covers, plastic covering systems that can be movable and will keep out the rain, the direct weather influence on your crop. If you step up, you will invest in the production of tunnels. This will keep out most of the weather conditions and will create favorable internal climate conditions for growing the raspberries. Here you should see some pictures of different locations in Eastern Europe where they have invested in tunnels, like in Poland or in Belgium. Also in the Netherlands, tunnels are still not a common way to produce raspberries in. In the Mediterranean area, these tunnel systems are also the main way of growing raspberries. And here you see the picture of the greenhouse, the Foley greenhouse of advanced berry breeding in the Netherlands. So that's another step up, the Foley greenhouses or glass greenhouses, which you can use to create fully controlled climate conditions for growing the raspberries. Now I like to show you the portfolio of different raspberry varieties that are available at Advanced Berry Breeding. First, the first generation of our varieties, the Kwanzaa, Mapema, Kweli, Imara, and a yellow raspberry type Jumbo. And they are all the double crop varieties which I mentioned to you earlier on. These are the representatives of the second generation of our selections, the Shani, Rafiki, Sarafina, and Wengi. These are varieties that are mostly grown in the southern parts of Europe, in the Mediterranean area, because they do not require a lot of cold. And especially the Shani is a representative of this true primocane type of raspberry varieties. For Ukraine, the varieties Kwanzaa, Mapema, Kweli, and Imara are registered at your variety list. So they are available also for to buy and to plant. The variety Shani, I see good potentials also to introduce in Ukraine, and I like to test this variety in Ukraine. I like to come back to that a little bit later in my presentation. Kwanzaa is still one of our main varieties. It's a well-known variety growing in Western Europe and also in the United States, very popular, especially because of the fruit quality. The variety has a very nice bright orange red color. It has an excellent shelf life, conical shape, and especially for the retail market, this variety is very popular. And that's also one of the reasons why growers are interested, because the retail in many countries is willing to pay a premium price for this variety. The variety you grow on substrate. In growing in soil is not the best way, and also preferably under rain covers or in tunnels or in greenhouses will give the best results. Second variety, which I think has potential in Ukraine, is Mapema. Mapema is an easy to grow variety, easy to pick. You can grow it both in the soil or on substrate. It's productive and it produces very nice red, dark red fruits. These fruits are both suitable for the fresh market and also for the freezing industry, for IQF. For this reason, Mapema is planted more and more in countries in Eastern Europe like Poland and Bulgaria and in the Balkan. The variety gives a yield which is earlier than Kwanzaa. In general, it will be about 2 weeks earlier in harvesting than Kwanzaa. And therefore, it gives also the opportunity to combine these two varieties. So you first grow Mapema, and after the top of the pick of the Mapema, you can start with the Kwanzaa. This gives you some figures about the potential of this variety, these two varieties, the Kwanzaa and the Mapema. In the greenhouses for the first primocane crop, you can pick up to 18 tons of fruits with the Kwanzaa. Mapema will give you a higher yield, up to 25 tons. Fruit size is very nice, which will make it easier to pick and give a good productivity for picking. Kwanzaa fruits will be in average some 6-7 grams. For Mapema, they are a little bit smaller. If you would grow the Kwanzaa and Mapema under the rain covers, yield will be a bit lower due to less controlled growing conditions. In the open field, if you would grow Mapema you can expect yields of around 12 to 15 tons per hectare. This picture shows you the cropping schedule for Kwanzaa. So the first primocane crop is always in the autumn. Kwanzaa is relatively late, certainly if you compare it to varieties like Polka and also Mapema. The main crop in autumn will be in October. If you would grow it in the glass house or tunnel, it could be a little bit earlier. Planting then should be done also in early spring from plug plants. For the late spring and summer second crop, if you would grow in the glass house and tunnel, you can expect it to be in May and June. You can postpone it if you will store the plants, the canes, and put them out later into your tunnels. Then you can even pick from these canes into August. Outdoor, if you would do it, the second crop will be normally at the end of June or beginning of July. So these kind of combinations of different cropping systems will make it possible to get fruits through the period of May until the end of October. When looking to this growing schedule, the planning of the Kwanzaa, as I told you, it's a later crop than Polka and Mapema. If you will plant from plug plants, it will take 20 weeks before you will start picking. When growing from the canes for the second crop, it will be 12 weeks. If you will mow down all the canes and you will have the regrowth of the canes, then it will take 18 weeks before you will have the new crop. The harvesting period will last 6 to 7 weeks. The timing of this autumn crop and the spring second crop, late spring summer second crop, is shown in this diagram. So this is the windows where you can expect the crop from Kwanzaa. Best results you will get when you will grow the Kwanzaa on substrate. You plant in the pots of 7 liters, 2 plug plants per pot. For the primocane harvest, it will be best to put up around 4 to 5 canes per linear meter. For the second floricane crop, you can space out the pots and you'll have enough with 2 to 3 canes per linear meter. For the second floricane crop, you should look to the buds from which the laterals can develop. If you have around 50 to 55 buds on the linear meter, you have a very good crop potential. The density is a very important aspect because it has a big influence on the fruit size, your picking speed, and the quality of the fruits, and therefore also on the financial result of the crop. We always say less is more. So don't have too many canes on the linear meter. Don't get a too dense crop. With less canes, you get stronger canes, fruits will be bigger, and therefore also the quality will improve. Keep an open crop, so it will make picking easier and faster, and also risk on disease development will be lower. Irrigation and the supply of water is another important aspect. In general, we always say more plants of raspberries die because of too much water instead of too less water. So be very careful with the amount of water you give to your raspberries. Normal, if you grow it in the pots, like with the Kwanzaa on the substrate, you should go for a drainage of about 15%. Definitely not more. Start giving the water in the vegetative period from sunrise. And when you are harvesting, start 2 hours before picking and stop in the afternoon, not too late. You should prevent that the pots will be too wet during the nighttime. Of course, this depends on your weather conditions. As I said, don't make it too wet. If you have too wet conditions in your substrate or in the soil, plant development, plant growth will slow down, and you run the risk of the splitting of the fruits. So you will have only second quality fruits. Some details about fertigation. In the vegetative period, focus on an EC of around 1.82. That will be enough to develop the plants. During harvesting, when you pick the fruits, reduce the EC to 1.2, 1.4. Calcium and kalium are very important elements for fruit growing, especially during the harvesting period. Calcium levels should be at 3.5 to 4 millimole per liter. Kalium at least at 4 millimeter, but increase it to 6 during the harvesting period. If possible, take regular samples of your leaves if you want to know specifically what are the needs of your plants. Some more details about growing Mapema, our middle season variety. If you plant it from plucks, it will take 16 to 18 weeks before the harvest will start. When you have the long canes, it will be 12 weeks. And from the mow down, it will be around 18 weeks, quite similar like Kwanzaa. The harvesting period is a little bit shorter. So after 5-6 weeks, you will be finished with the harvest. If you plant the Mapema in soil, 2 to 3 pluck plants per linear meter will be enough. In substrate, you can use the similar planting system as with the Kwanzaa. So 2 pluck plants per pot, 2 pots per linear meter. So then you have similar plant densities as with the Kwanzaa, 4 to 5 canes per linear meter. With the primo cane, the autumn harvest, and if you go to the early spring, summer harvest, you can reduce also the number of canes per linear meter, similar as with the Kwanzaa. The same applies for irrigation and fertigation. You can use the similar standard which I told you about growing Kwanzaa. If you want to specify tailor-made the growing, it will be best to hire the expertise of a crop advisor who has already experience with growing these specific varieties. The third variety, which I like to mention to you, which I think has potential in Ukraine, is the variety Shani. Shani is a variety which is very early in its production. So it's a very short time it needs between planting from the pluck plants and starting of the harvest. If you would plant under conditions in Ukraine in second half of April, it should be possible to start picking the crop in August. It gives a very nice sized fruits. The fruits are red, conical, have a very good taste, and can be transported over long distances. The variety is a true primocane, so it will give the fruits only on the primocane canes. So after harvesting, the canes can be removed. You can keep the variety over the winter, and then in early spring it will immediately start to regrow again. I think this variety, due to the characteristics of growing and the shape of the canes, it can be very good possible. I think there is potential to harvest it by machine, and that's something we are planning to test in Poland and Bulgaria this year, and maybe also in Ukraine if somebody is interested. So I like to wrap up at the end of my presentation some of the attention points for growing raspberries. Be aware that raspberries are sensitive to too much moisture, too much water. So if growing in soil, only grow it in well-drained soils. Also use substrate if you grow on substrate that has good draining features. Start always with healthy plant material bought from a reliable source, from a reliable nursery. The choice of the variety is up to you, of course, but always choose one which suits your marketing purposes. And of course, one of our varieties, if I would have a say to it. Knowledge of growing raspberries is important. In itself, raspberry growing is not too complicated, but if you want to produce good quality and also have it in a right planning and right growing conditions, you might need to hire a skilled agronomist or a skilled advisor for this. The last point of attention is labor. Raspberries is a very labor-intensive crop. So especially if you have larger areas or plans to develop larger areas of raspberries, be aware that you can organize the labor for picking. This is a main bottleneck in many companies, also in Western Europe or the Mediterranean area. All in all, I see good potentials to develop raspberry growing in Ukraine. Partly for the industry, but I think also for the fresh market, there are opportunities. Like in Poland, the focus in the past was only on growing raspberries for industry, for the IQF business. But in the last 5, 6, 7 years, more and more growers are investing in rain covers and tunnels to produce quality raspberries for the fresh market. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please, you can ask them now, or you can send me an email or give me a call.
We have some questions.
Yes, thank you.
We have some questions, so we will answer.
Yes, I will tell you. It's what is? Can you tell something about the water? How much does if you have a double how do you call it?
It's double cropper.
Double cane.
Double cane. What? How much water do you use in a normal sunny summer day?
Yeah, that is not so easy to say just as such. We work normally with, like in our greenhouse, with a weather station and a weather computer. So it's, and normally you will give about 6, 7 times a day you will give the water. Quantities I cannot just say like this. It's a bit too specific.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe there are other questions.
There is a question: does ABB use DNA markers in the breeding process?
Yeah.
At this moment, we don't. We are linked to some research programs in which they try to establish these markers, especially for some diseases like Phytophthora. But in our current breeding program, we don't do this.
Okay.
We might do it in the future, but that's still something for the future.
Yes, can you tell maybe something about, you were mentioning Mapena is for the processing industry, and but what is the focus of AB breeding?
Did you say that Mapena was for processing? I think Shani was for
No, well, I think, I mean, our focus is on the fresh market. So all our varieties are selected for their features and specific characteristics for the fresh market. But nonetheless, some of them can also be used for or can be tested for using for the industry market. And that's why varieties like Mapema, we see the growing popularity at the moment, like in Poland and other Eastern European countries. And I think for the same reason, Shani also has a potential for processing, especially when harvesting by machine. But this is still something to be tested.
Okay. And maybe last question, you said that the 3 varieties are already registered in Ukraine. Do you know something about productions? Because you showed a table with very high productions of 15 to 25 tons per hectare. Do you know something about how it grows in Ukraine?
Not exactly, because officially, according to our own records, we don't have clients yet for our varieties in Ukraine.
Okay.
We are discussing with a few companies at the moment to plant some of, especially also the Mapema. And it depends on your growing system what you can reach, of course, in yields. So if you plant them outdoor, your target should be around 12, maximum 15 tons of yield to be picked.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that are very nice numbers. So we hope that some growers will start with it and have a good yield. And also that the prices are going up in Ukraine, because that was a bit low last year. But it will increase again, because raspberries are getting very popular. I see them here in the supermarkets almost all year round. So that gives a very good perspectives. Thank you very much, Nico. If people have questions, then indeed you can contact Nico directly, but you can also contact Stiyka Ukraina. So then I like to go to the next speaker, to Leon Schrijnwerkers. Leon, can you switch on the screen and the sound, please?
Yeah. Shall we try again with the presentation?
Yeah, we had some problems with the presentation before, but let's see how it works out now. Hello, Leon. Yes.
Can you see it?
Excellent.
Okay.
I see it. Yes.
We have to start at full screen and then it's fine.
Yeah, but if that doesn't work, then it's also fine, huh?
Moment.
Can you make it a full screen? Vanaf begin. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Leon.
Okay.
Then the floor is yours. Yes.
Okay, the floor. Okay. I'm Leon Schrijnwerkers, a Dutch blueberry grower. Since my 6th year, I'm walking around in the blueberry plantation. I was almost born between the blueberries. My dad started in '69. You can see on the right picture, we are planting the first blueberries, and that's my dad and me. I'm now 58. My dad is 94. So this is proof when you eat a lot of blueberries, you can, that's one of the factors that you can get very old. So we are 53 years in the blueberries. We also do propagation of blueberry plants. You see it at the bottom right, our new nursery since 6 years. We built a new one. We are exporting about 1.5 million plants every year to 35 countries. And the quality This is very important. We have certified plants, NAC certified, very important, because you make a long-term investment, and that's a long-term means 15, 20 years. So it's very important that you buy certified plants which are free from diseases and viruses, and are true to name. Also, the root system is very important with blueberries. They should be rooted until the bottom, and they are very susceptible for too much water. So we are growing the plants on a lava field. That means that we have 12 centimeters of lava stones under the mypacks where the plants are on. The water can go vertically down. It's recycled, this water. So we have all the conditions to grow a beautiful and strong, vital plant for the growers everywhere. We do mainly high chill. So we sell from the north of Spain, the middle of Portugal, to Finland, Sweden, Norway, from Ireland to Poland, Ukraine, and other countries which have very cold winters. Our plants can withstand cold winters, and that's important, because yeah, they have to survive. And nowadays the weather.
Leon, please a little bit slower, because it's hard to keep up.
The weather nowadays is can be an issue. Too wet, too cold, too hot. So we have a lot of challenges. I tell in this presentation about my experiences during the last decades, what we saw and what we experienced here in the Netherlands. We have a lot of challenges nowadays. The wages, so the payment for pickers increased very much. I think the Netherlands is one of the most expensive countries in Europe. We pay about more than €2 brutto, so that's for me. We pay per kilo. So every kilo of blueberry picked costs more than €2 brutto, hand-picked. Since we have about 90 hectares of plantation, that's including the company in Germany, just across the border. So we have 90 hectares of blueberries. We are changing to mechanical picking as much as possible, but that we do later. First, the plants. We are growing the most plants in 2 liter. We have also 3 liter and 5 liter pots. You can see it here from the left to the right. In the 2 liter are 2-year-old. In the middle is 3-year-old, 3 liter, and on the right 5 liter, 3-year-old. Very important is the good substrate, but we get it from a very trustable company, BVB. So you can see that the plants are vital and strong. This is very important. The feeling of getting cheap plants is a good thing, but this cheap feeling will only last 1 week. If you have to make an investment for 15, 20 years, it's very important that you make the best start, not only with plants, but also for the preparation. Plus minus is not good enough. It must be 200%. And the title of this presentation is how to keep your plantation profitable. Profitable nowadays is more and more difficult because of what I said, the wages are increasing a lot for hand labor. So we switch to mechanical harvest. It's not easy. We didn't find it easy to find a good picking machine. We already bought the first self-propelled USA machine, the Corvan, 31 years ago. So 31 years ago, we bought the first self-propelled harvester from the USA, was the first one in Europe. So already 31 years ago, we started to look at mechanical harvest. We bought a second Corvan in the meantime, but for 2 years ago, we bought the better one. That's the fine field. I will show you later. It is important that the quality of your berries mechanical picked is it's very good, the quality, and that means that you have to have also a good color sorter. But first we go to the preparation. We use 300 cubic meters of white peat per hectare. Here you can see on the left and the right the white peat. We do not mix with the soil because it's important that the water drainage is 100% the same everywhere, and that's why we use white peat. White peat has a good structure, which does not compose. It is not fast composted like, for example, black peat. So the structure of white peat stays the same a lot of years. So it's very open, a lot of air is in there. It has super drainage. When you are mixing with the soil, then my experience is that every 50 meters the soil can be different. So 50 meters further, you can have less drainage. When you mix with the soil and white peat, then you can have problems because your drip lines, we use 2 with drippers 30 centimeters, pressure compensated. So the drip lines give water 100% uniform, everywhere the same, 100%. But your soil can be different. So to get a uniform blueberry plantation is a very big challenge. It's not possible when you are doing the right things. And the drainage is the most important with blueberries. Everybody is saying about the soil pH. People are talking always about blueberries. You need a low pH in the soil. I say to the people, I don't need the soil. I only are working on the soil. The advantage of having a hill with substrate is, and that's also important when you are planting for the future, this hill is also very usable with machine picking, because when you have a hill, you have a lot of less loss of berries when you are picking with the machine, because normally the catcher plates or the catching system is from 40 centimeters from the soil. So this is also very important. We use also MyPacks. We did before this, we did plastic. So since 5 years we use MyPacks. We can see a lot of decrease in wheat production. And when you are using no MyPacks and you do open ground and then wood chips on or something else, you still have a lot of hours which you must use for hand weeding. We are now seeing that the difference between planting in MyPacks and the common old system like no MyPacks or no plastic, we can see the difference of the use of herbicides. With MyPacks, it's the plant doesn't get any herbicides on the root system. And when you don't use that, you see a shocking difference between use of chemicals on the root system or no use, chemicals on the root system. It's shocking. I never thought about chemicals like that, but now I see it. It's visual. And we did the test, and we do all plantations. We do the new plantations in MyPacks and the existing, for example, 10-year-old. We can do also with a special machine. We can do also MyPacks in there. It's a little bit work, but it's working. When you don't have to have to focus on weeds constant, and you use MyPacks, it's much more easy, and it saves costs. What I want to say is a uniform and vital plantation will produce each year a lot of kilos and big berries, and this is profit. That's very important because the prices of blueberries sometimes in some parts in Europe are marginable. So it's the margin, the profit is only a little bit. But like I said, it starts with a good preparation, and that's important. In the next videos, you will see the preparation of substrate beds and the planting. In this plantation, we used 400 cubic meters of white peat, pure white peat, and you will see that it took a lot of effort. It cost a lot of money. But the guy who made this plantation, and it's close by for me, I always smile when I see this plantation. It's still, after 5 years, super uniform, growing, almost perfect. So here you can see on the left corner on top, you see the beds. There's a little bit sand on top, but we could not make it different. So it's about 95% pure, 100% white peat. Everything is on GPS. Two drip lines. You can see the drip lines are on the corners of the bed, which is important for the next video. Here you can see that this machine is drilling the holes in the bed. They changed it now. They have another system, but you can see that every hole is on GPS. Everything is straight. It's beautiful, which is also necessary when you are doing automatization for the future. like picking or other things which you can do without a driver. Normally, drilling in the soil is not done because we did it in the past, and that's maybe 35 years ago. You are smearing the side closed in the soil. In the white peat, it's possible because there is a lot of fiber and a lot of structure. That's okay, but in the soil, never drill, because the blueberry roots, they are hair roots. They only have hair roots, so they are very, very delicate. And you can imagine that when the side is smeared closed, then it's almost not possible that the plant will go further. What we see in this system is that the roots, you can't imagine how fast they grow in this airy substrate. It's beautiful. So everything is on GPS. Two lines in one time. The drip lines are on the sides, very important. So the customer calls me which size of pot they have that he bought. Then they put the exact size of drill in, so that with planting the pots can be pulled off, and the plant can be planted very easy. You will see in the next video. You can see here, it's all white peat. There's no sand. These were planted as 2-year-old 2-liter pots. First year, so in the planting year, 700 grams of berries. In my opinion, you can plant and have production in the same year. And that's very important, because you want to have profit as soon as possible. You are not planting these plants for only leaves. You want to have berries on. So these plants, 2-year-old, 2-liter pots, produced 700 grams in the first planting year. You can see everything is straight. With planting, they had to look that the drip line, which was on the side, is pulled to the plant. Also very important. In the first year when planting, the drip line must be close to the plant, otherwise they will die. This is the same plantation in the second year. You cannot believe it, maybe, but I just looked on my phone where the pictures are, that this is in the second year. So we had in the first planting year, we had 700 grams on the plant. In the second year, we had 3 kilos. And in the third year, we had 5 kilo per plant. And this guy planted 2 meters 75 times 90, no, times 75. That's about 4,000 plants per hectare. Times 5 kilos is 20 tons in the third year. I never seen it, but this is proof. This is proof. When you are doing the right preparations, then you get fast production, uniform plantation, and this is profit. This is profit. When you are mixing with the soil, then you could have problems with not uniform plantation, which gives less volume of berries, so less profit. Also is when you have parts of your plantation where the drainage is not so good, these plants do not need water or a lot less water, but the plants next to them, when they are growing good, they need a lot of water. But your drip line is doing 100% the same everywhere. So this preparation is as a precaution of getting a not uniform plantation, so less profit. it costs money, but it's 15 to 20 years. This plantation will last, and you are smiling constant when you are walking through this plantation. Also, pollination, very important. A lot of times underrated. We use both honeybees and bumblebees. Also, there are some growers, they have wild bees, but we did that before, but it's a lot of work. In my opinion, bumblebees and honeybees are enough. So we use about 6 big hives, beehives, and 4 big boxes bumblebees. Bad pollination results in small berries, so in a small volume of blueberries, and you don't get a lot of kilos, and the berries are small, so the quality is not so good. Price will not be so good. It costs money, of course, for good pollination, but better be safe than sorry, because every flower of blueberries needs to be pollinated within 2 or 3 days, and the weather conditions is most of the time not ideal. So when it's too cold or colder than 15 degrees, then the bumblebees or the honeybees, they will stay nice and warm in the box. But then you have the bumblebees, which are flying from 7 degrees plus. Very important that this flower is pollinated within 2 or 3 days. Very, very important. Also important is that you are pruning every year. And there is a lot of discussion about pruning. One says very hard, the other says less. I have discussions with my workers about this. When my workers are doing this about 80–90% the way I want to have it, I'm happy, because you can discuss about every twig. But if you are starting to discuss at a plant, 5 minutes later, there's nothing left. So we set a time per plant or per row, then it must be finished. Otherwise, you are doing too much work, which I feel in my wallet. You are pruning too much off, and it will be not good for my wallet, and there's too much work. So about 40% off, depending on the variety. Some varieties, they are very productive, so they have a lot of flowers. There must be pruned more, and some are average production. So then you are pruning less of. Some varieties make very easy ground shoots, like Duke, the very known early variety, makes not so easy a new ground shoots. So you have to think about that. We use electric pruning shears, which is a lot better than in the early days. We did everything by hand. But if you are using electric pruning shears like you have now without a cable, it's beautiful. But you must watch it that your workers are not doing too much. Because when they didn't have the electric shears, they didn't prune the very big canes out. Now it's very easy. So it's very easy to prune too much of. In my opinion, when you look at the pictures, I think that this is about average what I would prune. And we can discuss about that, but I think we agree on one thing, and that is that it is very important to prune, to get a balance between growth and production. Because when you have the right balance, then you have new growth for the next year or years, and your berry size is bigger, which is enormously important when you are doing hand picking. Hand picking costs a lot, but if you have open plants and big size blueberries, then your cost of picking is much lower. If you have smaller berries and the plants are not open enough that they have to look for berries, or with one hand doing the other twigs aside and pick with one hand is yeah, it's not good. Also, the size of the plants, maximum about 1.50 meters. We do.
Sorry, can you say it again? What 1.50 meters? What is the height of the plant? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
That's the height.
Yeah.
Hello. Are we still there?
Sorry, please continue. Yes.
Yeah. What did you say?
No, please continue. Sorry, I just missed
Okay.
the part.
So 1.50 meters about height. That's ideal because the pickers, they normally start at the top and then they go down. If it's too high, then your hands cannot be flat, but it's like that. Then your berries are falling out. So also lower kilos per hour picking. Nowadays, the last 2-3 years, we do after the crop. So when we are finished with picking, depends on every variety, but after picking, we do mechanical pruning with the tractor. It's these twigs which are hanging too much in the row where the tractor is driving normally. They must go off anyway. So we try to do that mechanically, and the rest, which stays on the plant, they get better, bigger flower buds because they get more energy.
Sorry, I missed the point. So what do you prune with the mechanical pruning again? Those that are hanging inside of the rows, those that cut out, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do nowadays, and it's also less costs with pruning. Yeah, I say one more time, in the Netherlands everything is very expensive, especially wages. So we have to decrease the hours for pruning from everything. Very important. Then about the mechanical harvesting. This machine we bought for 2 years ago. As I said, we bought the first USA self-propelled machine, the core one, 31 years ago. So this is from a practical blueberry grower and a few engineers. They thought about how to build the best blueberry harvester. I saw it 3 years ago, testing, and I was amazed by the shaking system. It's electric, and the vibration is different than the machines we had. This is electric, the other is hydraulic, so the older versions, but still with Oxbow also. The shaking vibration is so beautiful that I decided this year to pick the first Duke. Normally we do by hand the first time, because then the cluster will be more loose, that white berries are falling off easier. But this year I decided to pick the first Duke by this machine. I have it now 2 years, so this is the second year, and I had a little bit more green, but the prices here in Holland when the season starts is always high or higher. So we did that, and I'm happy. In our companies, in our plantations, we want to have less and less people because it's very costly. When we pay per hour, we have to pay the minimum wage, but they are paid per kilo. So they want to have as much as kilos as possible per hour. Then they get a bonus. But when the ladies are seeing a lot of blue, somebody, yeah, is everything okay? Hello?
Yes, we can see everything fine. We still see harvester on the screen. Yes.
Okay, so it's about getting less and less pickers because you cannot find enough people. It's very expensive, and then the weather conditions. In my opinion, picking blueberries is very challenging. I have respect for the people who are doing this because it's all the time. Am I still there?
Yes, you're still there. Please continue. Yeah.
Okay. So picking blueberries is hard work. It's always too hot, too cold, too wet, etc. for the pickers. This machine, you start, it's electric. And we did last year, we did also picking during the night because we had 2 less hours for picking dry. We had a wet season here, a wet summer. So we did picking during the night. It was dry. And we did picking during the night. There are LED lights on. It's like you are working during the day. There's a lot of light. And I was very happy with this because in my experience, the blueberries, when you're picking them mechanically, it's better to pick them that they are more cold, then they fall off easier as that they are hot. So during the day. It has solar panels and during the day, normally we pick until 25, 28 degrees. So during the day when there's light and there's a little bit of sun, then the solar panels are enough to charge the battery. So it's fairly quiet. During the night, of course, we don't have any light and we have a small gasoline generator. So I'm happy with this one. We picked now with this one in 2 years, 250 tons. We bought this year the second one on tracks. So we wanted to test these also. So then when it's a little bit more wet or a little bit heavier soil, then you don't have any problems to get stuck.
And can you tell how much this machine pick per day or per hour? Just
we pick average. It's developed. I don't know exactly what the standard should be, but we are picking in an let's say from 5 years plantations, so 5-year-old plantations and up. We pick somewhere between 800 and 1,000 kilos, realistic. Yeah, and
that is that per day or per hour?
No, that's per hour. That's per hour. So and the only thing is that here on the sides there are no boxes on now, but you have to the changing of the row is not so easy. It's like the tires on top on both sides at the end of the row must go down. Then the machine lifts itself up and then it goes to the next row. We do not have a steer, braking pedal or whatever. We have such a thing like Nintendo. We do with 2 thumbs. We do the operating of the machine. So it takes more time to change the rows, and you have to take the full boxes, which are on top of them on the side, on the yellow black stickers. Yeah, there are the full boxes. You have to take them off, so you don't have to go to the fitness club in the evening. But the quality of the berries is better than the Corvan machine. So it has also disadvantages, but the quality is for me is the most important. When you see the quality of the berries, yeah, it's unbelievable. The bloom, so the light blue color, is much more on than hand-picked. It's not hand-touched. There are no fingers on. It's beautiful. A very plus of this machine is also the times of dropping is it's only 2 times. And
sorry, what do you mean by times of dropping?
So, for example, on a picking machine, the berries are falling on the catcher plates, and this system is softer. It has like brooms. They are falling on brooms. So that's a soft landing. Then they are rolling into small buckets and then in the box. So that's only that's 3 times. But if you have the big self-propelled harvesters, then they fall on the catcher plates, then they go on the belt, they go to the back, and they go on another belt on top. They go under the blower, or yeah, they suck the leaves out. Then they go to another belt, and then in the box. So there are, I think, maybe 2 times more of dropping. They call it dropping. So that's the advantage. So important is when you're buying a machine to buy also a good sorting line, because when you see nowadays what sorting lines can do, it's beautiful, and then it's a good combination. It's a big investment, but it gives you more rest. You can plan much better. The weather you can plan, but if you are doing the mechanical harvesting, you know about how many kilos you can pick per hour and how many square meters, and that's important to have that. And this machine is always motivated, and yeah, you know how it works. This picking machine can replace 50 to 70 hand pickers, and yeah, the bottom line is lower cost price, more profit. I think that yeah, it's yeah, you can see here the figures. Lower cost price, more profit, because the prices of blueberries are not going up. I think they will be stable, but the profit you must get by lower cost price. So then there is a gap or more gap for profit, and you have to do that with investments, of course. Machine picking is, I think, suitable. It's a calculation, but I think from 15-20 hectares, I think it's profitable. We do the sorting with our cooperative. We have a packing station, but we are selling the berries to the cooperative, and the packing station is doing the packing and the sorting for the cooperation. That's the way it works. So lower cost price, higher profit, and the planting, preparation, very important. Pollination, pruning, yeah, everything. So thank you for your attention. I hope it was yeah, interesting, and yeah, I hope that blueberries they are eating more and more, and that we can maintain the business like we have now. Then I'm satisfied. So, but it's good to have challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leon, for your very nice presentation. Maybe you can switch off the sharing of the presentation, because then we also can see you.
Frederica, we have questions. I think.
Yes, we
I
have
can,
questions.
I can read them and
no,
translate
I
them.
have summarized them.
Okay.
So, but I like to give Leon just a pause, because there is still a question and Nico is still present and as well. So maybe Nico can switch on the, and also the sound. There is a question about your raspberries, about the royalties. How is it working with ABB, the royalties in the raspberries?
We have a system. The basic of the system is that people will pay the royalty per plant. So when they buy the plants,
yeah,
and for larger growers, we have a system that they can pay royalty per linear meter of productive plantation.
All right. Okay. And then that's once, or is it yearly?
No, the royalty per plant is once.
Yeah.
And the payment per linear meter is every year.
All right. Okay.
So that depends on the size of your production, basically.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, and if people are interested, they will contact you, and then you will discuss what is the best option for them, I guess.
Exactly. That will depend on the kind of scale they want to start growing raspberries or grow raspberries, and then we can make a solution for that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And the last question: the earliest raspberry variety for the market, which one is that?
Well, like I said, I like to test this Shani variety.
Yeah.
So then it should be possible also in Ukraine to start picking the fruits in August.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you would grow the Mapema, the main harvest will be in September, and for the Kwanzaa it will be the second part of September and October.
All right. That's also quite not too late, right? Yeah.
Depends on the weather.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Nico. Then we go to the questions for Leon's Wijnwerkers. We still don't see you, Leon.
Can somebody make me visual?
Yeah, you have to switch on the camera video.
I cannot video stop because the host has stopped this.
Oh,
Valerie,
can you see if Dimitri to make it visible somehow? And in the meanwhile, I will start with the questions, Leon. Yeah, the question is it better to get plants from in vitro, or is it better to have it from clones, from shoots?
The way we propagate is we do one-time tissue culture. So the mother plants are at the NAC in an insect-free glass house. They are maintained, they are checked every year on viruses, diseases, and true to name, because it's very important. You make a huge investment, and then you want to have good uniform plants, because you want to have a good start. Because when you have to reanimate your plantation because the plants are not good, then you are doing double the work, and yeah, that's a problem.
So,
yeah.
Leon,
Yes,
sorry,
there you
we
are.
can see you now, but sorry, I still did not understand. How do you move? Do you get in vitro plants which you grow?
We do one-time tissue culture. Yeah.
In vitro.
And the rest we do with micro propagation, and micro propagation is a vegetative propagation. So these are very small plants, which my hands are too big. Then the girls in the laboratorium, they are picking the top shoots, micro shoots, and putting it in the next tray, in the next multi-plate. So it's one-time tissue culture. And what is the best? I'm not so fond of hormones, I think micro shoots is better. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good to have a practical speaker with their own experience. So yeah, then there is some confusion, Leon, about your system that you grow directly in the white peat, right?
Yeah.
One question is it then not better to grow in pots? And the other question is, after what time do you have to increase the height again because it's in clinker, yeah?
Okay. Like I said in the presentation, the plantation which is visible in the pictures and in the movies is now 5 years old. I see the substrate ridges are still very tight and very beautiful because white peat composts very, very slowly. You know? And that's important. Otherwise, your plastic is going loose, and it's not nice. So after 5 years, it's still beautiful. Then the other question, what was it?
Yeah, can you
In
not
the
better
pots.
grow in pots? Yeah.
Yeah, why not in the pots if you do it with your peat?
If you think logic, because some growers or potential clients, they say, why not in pots? Yeah, because they think that is better. Why better? Because they put an expensive substrate in, because this plant should stay 5, 10 or more years in the same pot. Then they think that with this beautiful substrate, they will grow better. It's the same system, in my opinion, the same system as what we do is on substrate hills, but it's cheaper, yeah, because it's all 100% the same substrate everywhere, and with pots it's also. It's only, I would advise pots when you have much too heavy soil, that you have to put pots on the soil because there's totally no drainage. The disadvantage from pots, don't forget it, is that they can freeze dry during the winter. When you have a very cold climate, -20 for 2 weeks with eastern wind, no snow protection, then it's possible that the roots will freeze dry. Also, I just told you that I speak from my experience here in the Netherlands. It can be a problem that with these substrate beds, it's so airy, it's so loose that in -20 for 2 weeks or whatever, dry freezing weather, then it could be a problem in your substrate ridge. Then I would advise you, when you are in a very harsh climate, to mix some soil in the peat, because otherwise you have also the problem that it can freeze dry. And it's not that the plant, the temperature is the problem. It's about the roots system getting dry. So -20 or 30 is no problem, but the wind makes the substrate dry and your roots, and then they will die.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Then we have a next question, and that's about what is the diameter of your drip lines what you are using, and how long will they last? So do you change them during the years?
I hope not, because it costs money, and then you have less profit. It's all the time about profit. We use 16 millimeters. 16 millimeters, and we have drippers 1.6 liters per dripper. every 30 centimeters. We have 2 drip lines every row, and we have pressure compensated. Very important, because the pressure compensated lines, first, when you put on your pump or your system, then water is going in, and the drippers only start when they get a certain amount of pressure. So all the plants get in one time, they start to get water. And that's very important, because when you do not have pressure compensated, it's cheaper. But when you have a little slope in your plantation, when you stop giving water, then all the water is going to the lowest point. And there the plants will have too much water, and then you get your problems with too less drainage. So
Yeah.
it's all about investing in the good things, and these things will last. Iron in the water is bad for your dripper.
Yeah.
It will. We have here in the water 5 milligrams of iron, but I have a machine who gets the iron out of the water.
Mhm.
Water is totally clean when it goes into my water basin. I can swim in it. It's only too cold. It's like drinking water. So that's the precaution for getting the drip lines closed within 2 or 3, 4 years. So I think that easy, the drip lines will last 10 years under good conditions. Under good conditions. Everything has a price, and it's a calculation. You make a decision. Yes, I invest in better drip lines or better fertigation system, automatic fertigation system. Everything has a price. It's a calculation.
Yeah, no, indeed, I understand. So, yeah, so what are your plans for your own plantation? You have 90 hectares of blueberries. Do you want to expand your area, or what are your plans for the future?
I think we want to get better, not bigger. Bigger is not yeah, the issue. We can get bigger, but for what? We have one company in Germany with 75 hectares, and it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge to do this right, especially with a lot of hand picking. We do less and less hand picking. We have the good sorting lines. We want to go to have less costs per kilo, which is profit. And it's not the goal to get big. I want to be the best or better, and that gives profit, not the increasement of hectares, because then most of the time every hectare gets less attention, or every plant. And 75 hectares to manage this is a big challenge, especially nowadays with all the factors, with too less people, the weather, frost, everything, you name it. And that's a big challenge. But we are still making money, and you must have a vision for your company. You must have a vision for the future. Where am I gonna be in 5 years? What do you want? You make a business plan with investments and so on and so on, and then you make a decision, or yes or no. But half of the investments, or cheap or whatever, is not an option for me, because we made a lot of mistakes in the past. When you are 50 years in a business, then you made a lot of planting systems. In the early days, we drilled the hole. Totally crazy, we think now. But everything is logic when you experience what the mistake is, and that you are thinking logic. And then you think, 30 years ago, we drilled a hole, we put the substrate or peat in. Totally crazy. We don't do this now anymore. It's totally crazy. But then we didn't know.
Yeah.
That's evaluation.
Yeah, that it's experience. Yeah, I see. So, and you are working in a cooperative, right, for the marketing of your product. What? But actually, you are big enough to have your own sorting and packing
But it's
equipment and
better.
line. What is the advantage of being in a cooperative?
I see in some countries where we also sell plants that they are getting subsidies for planting blueberries. That's good, and an interest deduction for investing. That's good, but you are creating the competition from each other. If there are a lot of people in the neighborhood also investing in your blueberry plantations, then you have a shortage of hand labor. Also, you have to manage more and more kilos of blueberries being harvested, sorted, packed, sold. So then it's the best to work together in a cooperative. And it's the best because when you are alone, then the supermarkets or the retail, they choose a reliable partner which can deliver quantity and quality. And that is what you can deliver with being a cooperative.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have a bit, well, there was one question, what kind of fraction do you use for the white peat?
0.40 or 0.70.
So, I never heard about 70.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Okay.
There must be fiber in here.
Yeah.
And that's important. Then you have structure. And then, for example, when you have a big pile of white peat and you put a sprinkler on 2 weeks, the white peat will not, when it's dry, the water goes the easiest way. It's so airy, so it must have fiber. Very important.
But don't you prefer then a fraction of 20-40? Because otherwise there can be a lot of dust in it, or not?
Yeah, but the dust is not the problem. It's also about the money. When you have when they have to put this white peat substrate over a sorting line or a line to get the very small fraction out, then your price is going up and your profit is gone.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, they are asking about fertilization of the blueberries, but yeah, that's a specialty, I think, for the webinar, or not?
What
But
about the
fertilization, bemesting?
I know, maybe I know a lot about blueberries, but about fertilizer, this part on school I slept, I think. I have very good advisors for that. You can't know everything, and this specialty I leave to other people who are very smart in this. But of course, I know also about a bit about fertilizer.
Yeah. Okay.
And everywhere is different, huh? It's different in pots, it's different in my system, in the soil, climate, you name it. It's not like a standard. It's always because customers are also asking me about what they should give on fertilizer. First, take a water analyze, and then soil substrate analyze, that you know what you have in there, and then you are giving the rest which the substrate or the soil doesn't have.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. But you advise to have a good advisor to fine tune, and yeah, that is who has a lot of experience as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then we have 2 raised hands. I don't know if Dimitri can give the word to Anastasia Sholopova.
Tak, можу.
If she is still there, I think so. No.
Пані Анастасію, дозволив вам розмовляти. Можете ввімкнути мікрофон.
I think, yeah. Difficult, I guess, right? Oh, the microphone is switched off.
Yes, it's there now.
Okay. Yeah. Do we hear Anastasia?
I don't hear anything.
No.
На жаль.
Well, if not, what shall we do, Valerie?
I think this is it. Do we have any more questions?
No, I think we had all the questions answered.
На жаль, ми не чуємо Анастасію. Sorry, I have to switch the line.
So then I would, like to thank you both very much, Nico and Neon, for your nice presentations. Very nice to hear something about raspberries. I think it's also a very prospective crop in Ukraine, and especially also for IQF. It's a real opportunity. And very nice to have you, Leon, today in the webinar. It's very interesting to hear, from a practical point of view, blueberry growing, and we are amazed about the yields what you get in your plantations. So I would really thank you very much. If people have more questions, they can always contact Nico and Leon directly, or you can contact Valerie, and we're always in touch with Nico and Leon. So thank you very much for visiting our webinar. And we have to see when we have the following webinar. We will announce it on the Facebook, on the LinkedIn, and you can see this webinar back on the website of Stiyka Ukraina. Thank you very much again for visiting, and I wish you a very nice week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, especially Valerie.